Okay.
Now, how about a question that taps into the anxieties of the anxious style?
Okay, how about this one? When my partner is away,
Mm,
I'm afraid that he or she might become interested in someone else.
yeah.
That fear of abandonment, I think, resonates with many people who lean towards the anxious
It
style.
certainly does. And that fear can trigger those like activating strategies we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
The constant check-ins, the attempts to control their partner's behavior, and overanalyzing every interaction. Sadly, that hypervigilance
Yeah.
can sometimes become a self-fulfilling prophecy, pushing their partner away
Right.
and reinforcing their fear of abandonment.
It's so crucial to remember. It's not about blaming the anxious partner. It's about understanding that underlying fear
Right.
driving their behavior.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears and explore a question that exemplifies the secure style.
Okay.
What do you think about this one? I believe most people are essentially honest and dependable.
Wow. That statement reflects a fundamental trust in others, a belief in the goodness of people.
Right.
It suggests a secure individual approaches relationships with a sense of optimism and confidence,
Yes,
rather than constantly fearing betrayal or disappointment.
precisely.
Yeah.
That inherent trust allows them to be vulnerable and experience the full depth and joy of genuine connection.
Right. So listeners, if those sample questions have piqued your curiosity, head over to personalityquizzes.com
Yeah.
and take the quiz for yourself. It's free, it's insightful, and it might just be the key to unlocking more fulfilling relationships.
It could be. Understanding your attachment style is the first step toward creating the love life you deserve.
Okay, so you've taken the quiz, you've learned about your attachment style.
Yes.
But what happens when you discover that you and your partner have different, even clashing attachment styles?
Right.
Is the relationship doomed?
That's a great question, and it's probably on a lot of our listeners' minds right now.
Yeah.
But I would say absolutely not. It's not about finding a partner with the perfect match.
Okay.
In fact, even the most secure couples experience conflict.
Right. Everyone argues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The key difference lies in how they handle those disagreements.
Okay, so it's not about avoiding conflict altogether.
Right.
It's about developing healthy strategies for navigating those inevitable bumps in the road.
Exactly. And that's where understanding attachment theory becomes so powerful. It helps you decode those patterns, communicate more effectively, and respond to each other's needs in a way that fosters security and understanding.
So earlier you mentioned this concept of earning secure attachment.
Yes.
Can you explain what that means? It sounds like we're not stuck
Right.
with the attachment style we developed in childhood.
That's a really empowering message.
Yeah.
We're not destined to repeat the same patterns forever.
That's good.
So earning secure attachment means that we can evolve and become more secure through our experiences in adult relationships.
Okay.
It's about recognizing those unhealthy patterns, challenging those old beliefs, and consciously choosing to create a different dynamic.
So how do we go about, earning this secure attachment?
Right.
Are there specific strategies for bridging the gap between different styles?
There are. It starts with awareness. Both partners need to understand their own attachment style and how it impacts their interactions. From there, you can start communicating more effectively
Okay.
and responding to each other's needs in a way that fosters security. It's a process, but it's definitely possible.
So communication is key, but are there other factors to consider?
Yeah.
Like, does choosing the right partner play a role in developing secure attachment?
Absolutely. Choosing a partner who is capable of secure attachment is essential.
Okay.
If you're anxiously attached, for instance, it's crucial to be mindful of falling into the trap of pursuing partners who are emotionally unavailable or dismissive of your needs.
You don't want to end up in that cycle again.
Right, exactly. And for avoidantly attached individuals, it's about facing those fears of intimacy and opening up to a partner who is safe and trustworthy.
Right. It's about breaking free from those old patterns and consciously creating a new blueprint for love.
Exactly.
Yeah, the book is full of these inspiring stories of couples who have successfully navigated these attachment differences and built strong, fulfilling relationships.
It's really encouraging.
It gives us hope and reminds us that even though the journey might be challenging at times, the rewards are immeasurable.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you've done the work. You've gained that self-awareness. You've chosen a partner who is capable of secure attachment.
Okay.
What are some, daily practices to help you maintain that secure bond?
Yeah. Well, effective communication is an ongoing practice. It's about expressing your needs, clearly listening with empathy, and finding solutions that work for both of you.
Right.
It's also important to prioritize quality time together, creating those moments of genuine connection.
And I bet physical touch plays a role too,
Oh,
right?
what?
Like
Yeah.
cuddling releases all those feel-good hormones that promote bonding.
It does. Hugs, cuddles, even just holding hands, these small acts of physical affection
Yeah.
can release oxytocin, which reduces stress
Yeah.
and strengthens that sense of connection.
Right. And finally, never underestimate the power of gratitude.
Yes.
Take time to appreciate each other and acknowledge those positive qualities that drew you together in the first place.
Exactly. It's about focusing on those positive truths and not getting bogged down in negativity or criticism.
It seems like we've uncovered a treasure trove of insights in this deep dive.
Yeah.
But I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear about more specific strategies for dealing with those everyday conflicts
Right.
that inevitably arise in relationships, especially when attachment styles clash.
You're right, and that's exactly what we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive.
Oh.
We'll equip you with practical tools to transform those challenges into opportunities for growth and deeper intimacy.
Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll delve into the nitty-gritty of managing conflict and building stronger, more secure relationships. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into attachment styles. It's been quite a journey, right?
It has.
We've explored the science, we've tackled the quiz, and we even dove headfirst into that infamous anxious avoidant trap.
Yeah, we did.
But now I'm really excited to learn how to actually apply all this knowledge to, real-life relationships.
Yeah.
Especially when those inevitable conflicts pop up.
Yeah.
How do we handle those?
It's great that you're focused on that practical side of things.
Yeah.
Remember, understanding your attachment style isn't just about gaining self-awareness. It's about using that knowledge to build stronger, more fulfilling connections.
Right.
And that includes, navigating those everyday disagreements that can really put any relationship to the test.
So how do we apply what we've learned about attachment styles to actually manage conflict effectively?
Yeah.
Is it even possible to find common ground when your partner has a completely different way of approaching those disagreements?
It's definitely possible.
Okay.
And the good news is we don't have to reinvent the wheel. The Attached book outlines some fantastic principles
Great.
for dealing with conflict in a way that fosters security and understanding regardless of your attachment style.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
Let's dive into those principles. What's the first step towards managing conflict constructively?
One of the most important principles is recognizing that conflict is inevitable in any relationship.
Right.
It's not a sign that something is wrong. It's just a natural part of two individuals coming together with their own, unique perspectives and needs.
Right. It kind of takes the pressure off viewing conflict as this, failure.
Exactly.
It's more about how you approach it.
Exactly. And that's where understanding attachment styles comes in handy.
Right.
It helps you decode those patterns, communicate more effectively, and respond to each other's needs in a way that minimizes, hurt feelings and maximizes understanding.
So how do we actually put this into practice? Can you give us an example of a couple successfully navigating conflict through this lens of attachment theory?
Absolutely. The book describes a couple, Frank and Sandy, who have very different preferences when it comes to vacations.
Vacations, that's always a tough one.
I know, right?
Okay.
So Frank, who leans towards the avoidant style, dreams of adventurous hiking trips, while Sandy, who's more anxiously attached, craves those relaxing beach vacations.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
But instead of getting stuck in a power struggle, they use their understanding of attachment theory to find a compromise that honors both their needs.
Okay, how did they manage that?
They decided to alternate their vacations.
Well, that's smart.
One year, they'd go on an adventurous hike. The next year, they'd relax on a beach.
Yeah.
This way, both partners felt heard and respected, and their differing needs were met.
That's a brilliant solution.
Yeah.
It shows that compromise doesn't have to mean, sacrificing your own needs.
Right.
It's about finding those creative ways to honor both perspectives.
Exactly.
Do you have any other examples of couples using these principles effectively?
Another principle highlighted in the book is avoiding generalizations.
Okay.
They illustrate this with a couple, George and Kelly, who often clash over clutter.
Clutter, the classic clutter conundrum. Yeah. I can definitely relate to that one.
So Kelly, who has a more anxious attachment style, thrives in a tidy environment.
Makes sense.
While George, who leans avoidant, is more laid back about tidiness.
Yeah. So how did they use their understanding of attachment styles to tackle this issue?
Instead of Kelly resorting to criticism or labeling George as messy, she focused on expressing the impact his clutter had on her.
Right.
For example, she might say, I feel overwhelmed and anxious when the house is cluttered. It makes it hard for me to relax.
That's a great example of using I statements to
Yes.
express your feelings without blaming or attacking your partner.
Yeah.
Did George respond well to this approach?
He did. Because Kelly approached the conversation with understanding and vulnerability.
Right.
George was able to hear her concerns and respond with empathy. He made an effort to be more mindful of his clutter,
Okay.
not because he suddenly became a neat freak, but because he understood how it impacted Kelly's well-being.
Right. It sounds like they were able to transform a potential conflict into an opportunity for deeper connection and understanding.
Exactly.
It really highlights the power of effective communication.
Absolutely. Effective communication is a cornerstone of any healthy relationship,
Yeah.
but it becomes even more crucial when partners have different attachment styles.
Yeah.
It's about learning to express your needs, clearly listening with empathy, and responding in a way that makes your partner feel safe and secure.
Earlier, we talked about like earning secure attachment.
Yes.
Is effective communication pre that process?
It's essential. Learning to communicate in a way that fosters security and trust
Okay.
is one of the most powerful tools you can have in your relationship toolkit. It's about replacing those old reactive patterns with more conscious, intentional ways of interacting.
So let's say I want to start practicing more effective communication today.
Okay.
Do you have any tips for how to approach these conversations, especially when dealing with sensitive topics?
Absolutely. The book outlines 5 key principles for effective communication that can be incredibly helpful.
5. Okay. Lay them on me.
First, focus on your needs, not your partner's shortcomings.
Okay.
Instead of blaming or criticizing, express how their actions make you feel.
So instead of saying, you never call me back,
Right.
try saying, I feel hurt and ignored when you don't respond to my calls.
Exactly. The second principle is to be specific and direct.
Right.
Avoid vague complaints or passive-aggressive behavior. Clearly state what's bothering you and what you need from your partner.
So for example, instead of saying, you're always busy,
Right?
try, I would love to spend more quality time with you. Can we schedule a date night this week?
Exactly.
Okay, so it's about being clear and proactive about your needs. What's the third principle?
Avoid blaming or attacking your partner.
Okay.
Remember, you're on the same team, and the goal is to work together to find solutions.
Right. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly. Instead of saying, you made me feel bad, try, I felt hurt when you said that.
Yeah, that shifts the focus from like accusation to understanding. What about the fourth principle?
Be mindful of timing.
Yeah.
Don't try to have a serious conversation when you're already feeling overwhelmed or emotionally charged.
Right.
Choose a time when both of you are calm and receptive to having a productive conversation.
That's a great reminder. It's like choosing the right environment for a delicate plant.
Oh, I love that analogy.
You need the right conditions for it to thrive.
Exactly. And finally, the fifth principle is to own your feelings. Use I statements to express your emotions without blaming your partner.
Okay.
This helps create a safe space for vulnerability and encourages empathy and understanding.
We've covered so much ground today, from the science of attachment to these practical tips for communication and conflict resolution.
Yeah.
As we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one takeaway you hope our listeners will remember?
I hope they walk away with the understanding that secure attachment is not a destination. It's a journey.
Oh, like that.
It's a process of continuous growth, self-awareness, and intentional effort. And while understanding your attachment style can be incredibly illuminating,
Yeah.
it's the commitment to using that knowledge to create stronger connections that truly makes a difference.
Beautifully said. It's not about finding a perfect partner or avoiding conflict altogether.
Right.
It's about embracing those complexities of human connection and using those insights to build, more fulfilling, lasting relationships.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are resources available, like the Attached book,
Yes.
the personalityquizzes.com quiz, and even therapists who specialize in attachment-based therapy. Don't hesitate to seek support and guidance as you navigate this beautiful, messy world of relationships.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. It's been an incredible journey exploring this world of attachment styles.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has empowered you to understand your own attachment patterns, communicate more effectively, and build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. Until next time, happy connecting.